Hello everyone, it's the Exarch, and today we're doing something just a little bit different. In honor of the holidays, I wanted to do something festive, and I thought, what's more festive than booze? So, I was originally going to make a top 5 best alcohols in Eorzea list. The thing is, of all the booze in Eorzea, we as the player have very little to go off of in terms of taste. A lot of the items are just mentioned by name or are used as ingredients, and while a lot of them do have flattering descriptions, it's hard to compare qualities when you can't actually taste any of it. So, that list wasn't going to pan out, but I did have more to work with if I turned to the bottom of the barrel. As it so happens, there's a lot more to go off of in terms of things you definitely shouldn't drink, even if you desperately need to take the edge off of having a bunch of difficult family over for the holidays, or you're trying to pug Eden Savage. So here it is, just in time for New Year's, my top 5 worst drinks in Eorzea. Starting off with number 5, it's Cactar Piss. No, seriously, this is a legitimate alcoholic beverage in the game. Now, luckily, Cactar Piss isn't made from, well, actual cactar piss. Instead, it's a fermented cocktail brewed from sabatender fruit. It's made and drank by desert outgoat herders to, and I quote, forget their outgoat herders. Now, to its credit, Cactar Piss does sound like a pretty potent alcoholic beverage, and nothing in its description explicitly says it tastes bad, but I mean, come on, it's called Cactar Piss. It can't be that good. And I'm thinking that if outgoat herders are that eager to forget their daily woes, they're not going to be picky about the method of alcohol delivery. That being said, I don't know for sure if it's really awful. I mean, there are some real-life cocktails with rather unflattering names that also turn out to be pretty alright. So, I can't exactly put this any higher on the list than 5. My recommendation is, if you are going to drink this, prepare for it to taste as bad as it sounds, and stay hydrated, because a hangover from this stuff will probably ruin your day. On to number 4, we have Palm Wine. This gnarly drink made its debut in the early A Realm Reborn questline that revitalized Bacchus wine, and actually both Palm Wine and Bacchus wine are real-life types of wine. However, the palm wine in Final Fantasy XIV was basically being made by an unfortunate homeless sap, who probably doesn't have any business making wine at all. Palm wine is made by fermenting the sap of palm trees in coconut shells, with a palm leaf placed in each shell. The game makes it very clear this stuff is barely palatable for a normal person, and is really only good for getting drunk. Even then, it has some pretty dangerous side effects too. If left to ferment for too long, it can actually cause a loss of vision. So not only would you be drinking a beverage that tastes awful, it might also lead to permanent blindness, so have fun with those odds. My recommendation is, if you absolutely have to drink palm wine, source it from a reputable producer, or just avoid it altogether. You're better off waiting for the first new batch of Bacchus wine. Number 3 is Quaker and Firewater. Quaker and Firewater is pretty much the bottom of the barrel when it comes to alcohol production. It involves throwing pretty much anything you can find in the wild into a barrel of water and letting it ferment in the hot sun. Not only are the Quakerns not really picky about what goes into this brew, they also don't really care if it's alive or dead. The in-game description even goes out of its way to call it foul. And to top it all off, apparently its smell is something akin to shoving your face in a gym locker, filled with sweaty socks, rotting fish, and used baby diapers. There's pretty much no reason to ever drink this. Not only is it absolutely disgusting in concept, but it doesn't even mention that it's particularly potent. Which makes sense, considering it's made with literally whatever. I'm sure the alcohol potency varies from batch to batch, but is it really worth it? Especially when you consider how many rotten, bacteria-ridden things could wind up in firewater. My recommendation is, if a Quaker hands you a mug of this at the Heavensturn festival, just politely accept and use it to water the trees when they're not looking. Outside. As far away from the party as possible. Moving on to number 2, the Ale from the Party in Falcon's Nest. Okay, so now we're moving on from alcoholic beverages that will only hurt you unintentionally to alcoholic beverages that were intentionally designed to hurt you. Credit to the Ishgardians, I'm sure the ale itself was very good. It's always cold in Ishgard, so I imagine they drink a lot of heavy ales, maybe even mulled ales and ciders. Something to warm you up and keep you in good spirits when every season is just winter all the time. The one problem with this particular ale is that it also had the unfortunate side effect of being drugged. On the bright side, this was more like getting roofied at a party with a bunch of older people you don't know, and less getting a mouthful of strychnine by someone who really dislikes you. But that's kind of like saying it's better to get mugged in an alleyway and have your wallet stolen, than getting shanked in an alleyway, have your wallet stolen, and then you bleed to death. Also, this is pretty much the drink that gave the Warrior of Light PTSD when it comes to accepting drinks at anything, so that's a thing. My recommendation is, avoid this drink at all costs unless passing out and suffering from paranoia and psychological trauma is your cup of tea. Or ale, I guess. Moving on to number 1, and I'm sure you guys all expected this one. The attempted regicide wine from the end of A Realm Reborn's story. So, the last beverage was only meant to knock you out, but this one has straight up murder on the agenda. This was a straight-up assassination attempt on the Sultana by Teleji Aldeleji once it was becoming abundantly clear she was going to use her political power to decentralize the administrative rights in Ul'dah, even going as far as planning to abdicate the throne. Now, once again, the wine here was probably very good in and of itself. It was picked to serve to the ruler of the wealthiest nation in Eorzea, and her honored guest, who was also the hero of the realm many times over at this point. So there's no way the wine was anything but amazing in quality. Some might say, even to die for. But once again, there comes the problem that, well, you know, it was poisoned. And while the bottle served to the queen had actually been swapped with a bottle containing a far less deadly drug that merely put the Sultana in a near-death state, she was still, you know, in a near-death state until administered an antitoxin. My recommendation is, just stay away from this one. Unless you want to fake your own death to get away from all those damn annoying side quests. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. I know this was a little different from my usual lore videos, but I wanted to try something new and I thought this would be a short, fun video to put out before the end of the year. I'm not changing up my main content. Most of what I work on in relation to this channel will still be my lore videos. But if you guys enjoy this one, I may consider doing more of these lists in the future. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.